Now, the popularity of this flight simulator is absolutely insane. It's nearly as popular as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. But it's on Roblox. See, this is RO320, a quite, realistic Airbus A320 simulator. In fact, it can do things that the normal Microsoft Flight Sim planes, for example, cannot. Also, there's definitely a reason why this game has 10 million visits. Insane. I mean, Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 has 15 million players across PC and Xbox, so there must be something special about RO320 on Roblox. Can't be realistic at all, you might say, but it's actually very interesting what it can do. See, a few months ago I made a video about this game, and there were quite a few things that didn't really work, but you guys keep telling me, please Swiss, revisit the RO320 and tell us what you think. So let's see what they have done now ever since this thing came out 4 months ago. Let's go ahead and just play it now. All right, we've got a chill intro. This is the menu. And here we can start a new flight, so let's go ahead and do that now. By the way, this is a free experience, of course, so even if it's bad, I'm not mad. Now, let's go ahead and just open a server. I guess you can play with your friends, but I don't have any, so I'm not interested in that option. All right, and so everything is loaded in, ladies and gentlemen. And isn't this impressive? We are in Roblox, the game that has the oof sound, right? But we're actually on board a beautiful A320, but it's very cold and dark, so let's just sit down right now and just quickly turn on this plane. There we go. Of course, the whole point of this basically is to teach people how to, I guess, start up an Airbus A320, how that works. So yeah, we've just turned on the battery, but that won't power off the airplane yet. Basically, the battery is only helpful for starting up the auxiliary power unit. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Now, we have our iPad right here. That's the only thing kind of powered up now. External power is connected as well here according to this iPad, so let's go ahead and just use it. There we go. Yes, there we go. Now, I think there's a big limitation to Roblox, right? I mean, zooming into the autopilot panel, you cannot see anything at all. So it's like a bit of a shame that you can't really see all the work that has been put into this. Now, external power is on. We can turn on the APU. And the cool thing is that, of course, is reflected in this eCam display. This is the temperature of the APU exhaust. We can maybe even have a look at the APU when we jump outside. And this is something that used to be a thing, and they still haven't really done any work on this. So, yeah, we have no outside model that properly works. We have a cockpit that somehow floats. It's an interesting one. I don't really know why, but yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But look at this airport model. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's go ahead and teleport TP plane. Yes, exactly. Anyway, back in the cockpit, let me just go ahead and see what we can do here on this iPad. I kind of want to change the lighting situation, which we can do here. Gray, cloudy. Yes, that's a lot better. Finally, we can see something. Now, the screens are not working because, of course, we need to align the airplane first. So the aiders, and we've just done that. Aiders are aligning. That's perfect. And it's really impressive how many buttons do work and do a thing. Like, for example, the evacuation horn sounds up. And now this airplane sounds a little bit like a McDonald's machine, and you kind of forget that this is Roblox, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, evac initiated, and we have our, checklist items. Let's turn that off, please. Thank you. Talking about checklist, here's the checklist if you're lost. There's like a lot of things that do work and are sort of simulated. We can turn on the emergency locator transmitter, and it says on. That's good. And yes, even the circuit breakers, they work, but they don't function. I don't know. They just you can pull them out, which is very impressive. This is Roblox and this is free. But yeah, I'm not able to see the circuit breakers really do anything, to be honest. Anyway, would you like a reading light, sir, Captain? Yes, of course. The reading light works. Perfect. Now the systems are aligning. 3 minutes until the instruments know where the airplane is at, And here is the MCDU, which looks very much like this. An Airbus MCDU. I wonder why. Because this is actually, it's somehow simulated. It's not necessarily that good. So, we can go into the FMGC, and there's, the buttons don't really do it. Oh, they do it. Oh, they do something. Never mind. They updated this. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. We can initialize the flight. We can have a COM2. Can we enter a flight? We're in Roblox. Right now, we're at the airport of, we are at the airport of Charlotte Douglas International, which looks like it's quite nicely simulated, I must say. So let's take a look. I think the AIK code is KCLT, I think. Let's see if we can enter something. That would be really interesting. All right. Yes. Look at this. Got our flight plan. I don't know how even they did this. How do you do this in Roblox? Like, this is insane. This is like kind of, making a car out of cake. Anyway, we can turn off the external power right here, but you can see a little bit of deficiency here in the ECAM display. For example, the APU generator shows that it doesn't provide any power, nor the bleed should provide any air, so this is not necessarily as realistic as can be, but that's fine. Also, none of these things work. We only have an APU page, so this is not a full A320, but it's in Roblox. Either way, what can we do here, honestly? Could we have a flight plan page, or this is just useless? Probably just useless, because one big problem is that we only really have this Charlotte Douglas International Airport with a plane that doesn't have a nose. It's kind of like Michael Jackson. Either way, the airport looks really, really impressive. It's the single airport we have, though. It's not an A2B sim. It's really kind of an experiment. How much can Roblox do? Now, what else works? Can we fire extinguish the engine? I think I might have just done that. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, normally in real life, you would pull something out right here. That didn't happen. Anyway, it's about time to commence pushback. How do we do that? Can I put out the Remmer turbine? I don't think I can. It's not going to show up in the outside model, I'm pretty sure, because this thing doesn't have a nose, Either way, I'm trying to get this airplane to push back, but I'm not able to. So what I'll do now is turn on the engines and just reverse thrust out of here. So let's go ahead and do that. Our plane is nearly ready, so we can commence our engine start. So the APU bleed is on, and so let's go ahead and turn on engine number 2. So ignition start is there. Let's go ahead and turn on the master switch, which I think should be interesting. What happens if we turn off the APU bleed so the engine won't have any air to start? We're not unable to do that. We're unable to click it, in fact. It locks in place. And we can hear the engine start spooling up. I can't see that yet on the Come on. The engine is definitely turning on. It's just not showing here. That's maybe a little bit broken. All right, so let's turn on engine number 1 as well. Looking good. According to the plane, this plane is dead. This plane confuses me. Have I done something wrong? Why is there so many faults here? I kind of wonder about that. Come on, how do we get out of here? Oh, what's the issue? Takeoff config. Shut up. Engine movement not available yet. So this is interesting. This is the normal mode of flying, but there's also a flight test where you actually can fly, and that's what we're going to try now. So alpha flight, let's go ahead and try it. So this, what we tried before, was just the idea of turning on the airbus, but you can't move. Now you can, which shall be interesting. Now this is a bit different of an airplane. Like, for example, the ECAM buttons are missing. That's fine. Let's go and quickly turn this plane on. Come on. Good. External power also on. Turn on the APU really quick. Align the IRS. Wonderful. Crew supply on. Now what's funny is that the windshield wiper has no function, so wonderful. Okay, let's turn on the APU properly. Yep, turn on the fuel pumps. Yep, do it all over again. APU bleed on, and now the engine start simulation properly works. So, ignition on, and engine number 2 is starting up, which isn't working right now because the APU is not able to provide enough air yet. It's not fully turned on and it needs to be at 100%. So it says here, low bleed press, because it doesn't have enough air. And I think that's really cool. So like it has logics in there. But now this should actually turn on. We've got enough APU bleed. In fact, it says fault. Wait, let's go and turn this back on. Yep, alright, now it should work. Yes, there we go. And suddenly we start tweaking. Yeah, because this thing pretty much is the most over-engineered Roblox game, it's kind of laggy, buggy, everything. I mean, look at the lighting. Anyway, come on, why is this engine not turning on? Did I do something wrong? Hold on. Oh, yeah, I did something wrong. The APU bleed wasn't turned on all the time, so let's try that again. Engine number 2, start up. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it works. Talk about things that work and what not work. For example, what confuses me is the QNH has no function. It just changes the autopilot out. Also, none of the autopilot work. Either way, the engine number 2 is turning on, and something that's interesting about the A320 is that now, when that's happening, the engine number 1 switch is locked. Actually by hardware. So you're unable to switch this yet because it can't start up 2 engines at the same time. It would very much mess up everything. But look at this, our engine number 2 has turned on. We can turn on the auto brakes. Look at that, that's cool. It probably doesn't do anything though, does it? Either way, we can tell the engine number 2 is turned on, the generator is available, and look how we can change, we can even turn off the lights and change everything. That's really impressive. Alright, looking good. The engine number 1 is also turning on. Can we see that outside? I know this thing is not really about outside okay, no. That's kind of a shame. But look at this. All right, now this is an interesting test. As you can see, the engines are turned on, but the IRS isn't aligned yet. So we're not allowed to move. Otherwise, it would just mess up the entire reference system. So let's maybe see what happens if we do move. Does it mess up anything? Does it? Let's see. Come on, move. The runway is over there. So let's go ahead and use our steering. Yeah, this thing does not support joystick. That's definitely a Roblox limitation. Come on, move, move, move now. Yeah, look at this. What I don't like about this thing is the camera, but that's probably Roblox as well. Like, there's just no follow camera. The camera just doesn't follow within the airplane. But look, even the nose gear moves along. Okay, hold on. Less power. It's hard to like do everything with a mouse, even the throttle. What? I wanted to go back to the plane. Oh, I think I broke. God damn it! I broke the thing, didn't I? I broke it. So this is the alpha thing. So you cannot go to outside view, otherwise it'll mess everything up, ladies and gentlemen. Great learning, Swiss. There's no way to reset. Okay. The whole thing has crashed. Wonderful. Yeah, it turns out there's a bit of a reason why this is only 92% positive, although this is really cool. By the way, the visits just jumped up 100,000. That's crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're back in the plane. Let's just quickly turn it on. Let's do a quick and dirty and just fly. I don't care. Does the seatbelt signs work? Yeah. That's really cool. Ladies and gentlemen, who cares? Let's go take off. Full power. Nah, we never really set the flaps here. By the way, we should have maybe used the runway. I'm sorry. Seal is broken. Let's go. Okay, this was a dumb idea. Now this is where, outside of the perimeter fence, and something is wrong with the engines, but it makes sense. I think we're just flying into the void now. Well, never mind, we're flying. I can reference it by this. The instrument doesn't work yet because there's not aligned yet. I feel like the Airbus A320 should have enough power to fly properly. For some reason, we are literally at an airspeed of 0, even on the standby. What are we? But never mind, we are actually somehow able to fly, I guess. The throttle doesn't work. Hey, I mean, this is a free experience, and also you get a free epilepsy death. But nevertheless, very impressive. What the hell are we doing? The problem is, this is tries to be a flight sim. The flying part, not really a thing yet. I really don't even know what's even going on at all. I think there's no person that's ever been able to actually do a landing in RO320 because it's like so impossible to fly these airplanes properly, especially here with the mouse controls. It can be really messy. I get, I mean, Roblox is so like limited in that regard, but oh my god, the lighting is crazy. I think we're moving sideways now, aren't we? This is not really the flight envelope of the A320 fly-by-wire system. Am I right? It wouldn't be able to bank like this. Wait, hold on. I want to find out something. This right here is a tutorial on how to taxi and take off. Is he able to take off properly? Or is it just a me problem? All right, here they're taking off. Oh, look, they've got airspeed. That's good. That looks great. And they can somehow lift off. Oh, hey, somehow. Let's work. Great lighting. Meanwhile, we're still flying, by the way. I don't know where we are. I think no one's ever done a landing. If you have, please let me know. So this is RO320. I think it's really cool to have this. And really, like, it's kind of ridiculous what Roblox is able to do. Yes, maybe the time would have been better invested in an actual Microsoft Flight Sim airplane, you know, to make this, to develop this. But, we're gone. Rest in peace, our little plane. And now I can't go back in, right? No, it won't let me. It won't let me. The plane's gone. So everybody, that is RO320. What I see here is definitely a lot of passion. So that's great. So, hey, maybe they're going to be good in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night. The special thanks goes out to my members, my supporters. Guns Killer, R27, James Duram, That Dude, Anime Gods of Gaming, Derek, Insider Plane, Nishijitsu Fanner, Professional Jamal, Ryland Williams, and New the York. You've got beautiful names.